Let's talk about The Great Indian Brain Rot by Anurag minus Verma. I discovered Anurag when he appeared on this podcast for the Buffalo Intellectual. He recited his own poem titled Coffee for Mr. Lonely, which used visual imagery to evoke the scenario in a coffee shop. I was driving back home from work, and as he was reciting this poem, all the characters were coming alive in front of me. It's a hilarious take on, what happens in a coffee shop. So I came back home and I started searching up for the poem online because I was teaching a bunch of 13-year-olds back then, and I was teaching them the poetry unit. So I thought I could show it to them as that exemplary work, which they'd also find amusing. I couldn't really find anything on Google. He's probably not published that poem separately. But I did land up on his Instagram page and discovered another gold mine, his video essays. He has this brilliant ability to analyze the mundane without glorifying his subject or being condescending towards it. He presents his sarcastic commentary. He doesn't intellectualize what he's observing, and I believe that's where lies his genius. He is able to catch nuances others often miss. And then, of course, there's that submission to randomness. Some phenomena can't be explained without the acknowledgement of randomness. And in case of social media too, it's hard to predict what will work, what will not. There are no patterns, order, coherence, or predictability. And that's also what leads to the excitement. You don't know what you'll see next, and that's what keeps you hooked. Anyway, so when he announced his book, The Great Indian Brain Rot, I was looking forward to it eagerly. There's no pretension in his writing. It's not promising something that it's not, and it's not making those grand declarations of revealing something that you don't already know. It's very simplistic in that sense, similar to his video essays where he observes rather than remarks, and he comes up with these metaphors not just to poke fun but almost in admiration of his subject. So in this book he is spotlighting creators that the upper class aesthete would dismiss as cringe very quickly. I've done it many times myself, and I'm grateful to writings such as these that reveal that flaw in my thinking, in my ideology. There's one thing I really admire about Anurag's work because it's helped me shift my perspective too. It's the way he looks at his subject. He's not looking down on them. He's just curious to know what their motivations are, what's driving them, what does their day to day look like. The satire, in fact, is on the eyeballs of the viewers, on the medium on which we all create, the platform's absurd algorithm that we have to pander to, and we become a slave to in trying to seek that popularity. And the single most important currency in the digital world, relevance. The creators are just like you and me who are trying to make a living in these absurdist times. There are 9 chapters in the book that pretty much sum up the internet landscape in India. It looks at what the word cringe means and how its definition reveals class irregularities in India. There's a whole chapter on Sushant Singh Rajput's death and the circus that unfolded after. Acha, by the way, if you're picking this book thinking it'll save you from brain rot and keep you away from screen, let me tell you my experience. I was super curious to check out all the influencers he was writing about, so I pretty much used my phone all the all the time and found myself doom scrolling many times, and then telling myself that I had to come back to the book. Anyway, my favorite chapter in the book was Teaching for the Algorithm, which decoded the rise of teachers, instructors, professors. We have all come across that random reel where a teacher has seamlessly infused philosophy into a hardcore physics, engineering, economics lesson. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, your algo is not serving you right. When we look at all these social media platforms, we think of it as this great, empowering, democratizing tool which does away with gatekeeping. And that's true to an extent. The author also provides ample examples of how caste hegemony is perpetuated online. He does this by talking of the dominant OBC castes like Gujars, Yadavs, and Jats, who he says have been marginalized by Savarna power, but have also been perpetrators of violence and casteism against Dalits. He ends the chapter on the line, what they seek is not annihilation of caste, but their own elevation within it. The book is packed with many such insights, and where others may have chosen to scroll up or be dismissive, the author chose to direct his gaze and understand, not judge. The book offers a curious lens, not a judgmental one. And if you plan on reading, I'll leave you with these lines from the text. Navigating these apps is like experiencing a microcosm of Indian society, replete with all its prejudices. These biases can manifest in subtle or blatant ways, mirroring the hierarchies that have shaped our social fabric for centuries. And that's it. That's my humble submission.